We are going to have a conversation today. This conversation is going to be what has become some people's favorite stock, some people's favorite investment right now is NVIDIA, right? So we're going to talk about NVIDIA stock, how NVIDIA stock is just really getting started. And guys, if you can hear me, do me a favor and give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you can hear me and let me know where you're coming in from, guys. No matter where you are, we're using StreamYard to go to a lot of different places. So wherever you are, let me know where you're from, what city, what state, what county, what country you're in, and let me know in the chat if you are. What's your position on NVIDIA? What is your position on NVIDIA? So exactly 7 days ago, guys. Exactly 7 days ago. Was it 7 days ago? Yeah, exactly 7 days ago. I told you at that point, Microsoft was its market cap was 3.2 trillion, and it was the biggest company. It is the biggest company. It was followed by Apple, that was at about 2.9 trillion, and then Nvidia was pulling up number 3 at about 2.8 trillion. This is what I told you last week. Yesterday, Nvidia overtook Apple briefly, came back down a little bit today, but it overtook Apple just yesterday as the largest market cap company in America, in the world. But guess what? It's probably going to pass Apple up in the next 5-6 days or a week or less than a week. We just don't know. We got to look and see. But I told you it was going to come for number 1 while it was number 3. It got up to number 2 yesterday, dropped back a little bit today, but it's right there, right? It's right there. Probably going to surpass Apple in a few weeks, right? I also told you that I believe last Thursday, same time, same place, I said that NVIDIA is going to be bigger than all of them. I believe that. So in this video this week, I want to explain to you why I believe NVIDIA stock is just getting started and why I strongly believe that it's not too late for you to invest in this stock if you so desire, right? NVIDIA, whose graphics processing units, GPUs, are used in the gaming industry, cryptocurrency mining, vehicles, robotics, AI, everything, right? So on this video, I'm going to show you some data. I'm going to explain a little bit about who NVIDIA is. I'm going to talk about what they specialize in, talk about what their industries they're in, and then tell you why there's such a demand for AI coming up. I'll talk briefly about the stock split. Stock split is tomorrow at the end of trading day, right? So I'm going to tell you also at the end here what you should consider to do if you're trying to make a decision. Invest, not invest. Maybe invest, I'm not sure. Yeah. So let's see where you are, guys. Let me check the chat real quick. Let's see. Hey, South Holland, Illinois. Wait a minute. I got family in South Holland, Illinois. Let's see here. Southern California's in the house. Thanks by the book, Clint Perry. Jay Samuel, salute to you. Doing good, Namisha. Clint Perry's in the house. Good to see you. Thank you for letting me know you can hear me. Excellent. Nashville's in the house. Port St. Lucia in Florida. Somebody said they just purchased a couple of shares yesterday. We got Myrtle Beach in here. We got Arizona. We got some thumbs up. Thank you, Mrs. Moore. Good to see you in the house too. We got Grandview, Missouri in the house. We got Inglewood, California. We got them from all over the world, all over the country. And some of you may be saying it's too late. Hey there, Pam. Good to have you in. Pamela Morrell checking in from Atlanta. Let's see. NVIDIA plus synopsis. Let's see. Get in for what? What is this strategy that you're suggesting? Get in and hold or make a quick buck? Hang tight, John Joe. Thanks for that question. Ohio's in the house. Atlanta, Georgia, Loganville. Good to have you guys here. Maryland is in the house, and Gatineau, Quebec. Right? So we're all over. Appreciate you guys being here. Let's have this conversation. Keep it respectful in the chat. You guys that are in the chat, you know that we help each other out in the chat. We give information. We supply answers to questions and so forth, because I can't do it all alone. I don't see every question, but there's some folks that can definitely help you in the chat. Let's see. Yeah, who is South Holland? Bring me some Italian Festa. All right, yeah. South Holland is right outside of Chicago, right there. All right, so let me share my screen with you guys. I'm going to show you the results of a poll that I did on the community tab earlier today. The poll results are very, very, very interesting. That's why I want to show you these poll results real quick before we really jump heavy into it. I took a poll and I said, hey, what is your stance, your current position on NVIDIA? That's what I asked. And let me share my screen, guys. And if you're not on YouTube, you may not see it. I don't know. Let me make myself smaller. But here's the poll results right here, right? So the poll results, the question, let me actually refresh it. The question was, this is an informal poll. I got 564 responses, votes. Are you a believer in NVIDIA stock? 36% of you said yes. I'm going to keep buying before and after the split. 21% of you said no. And then another 7% of you said, nah, it's too late. That's about 28% of the people that said no, or it's too late. I'm not getting involved with it. 28%. Roughly almost 3 out of 10 of you said no. But that means the other 7 out of 10 of you, 70%, said, yep, I'm getting in it. 36% said I'm going to keep buying. Let's see, 16% said yes, but I'm proceeding with caution. That's 52%. And then 20% of you said yes and no, I own it in my ETF. 70% of you, informal, I get it, right? This is an informal poll, but 7 out of 10 people are either thinking about it or they're in it. Now, if you translate that to investors, that's a lot of people that are talking about and thinking about this particular stock, this individual stock, right? Lots and lots of folks. So I want to share that with you guys just to let you know, hey, I wanted to put some feelers out there to see where you guys are. And, almost 600 people responded, and that's where we were. Data. Let's look at the 10Q. I want to do something a little different for you guys because I don't hardly ever spend time on 10Qs and 10Ks. But I was trying to tell you this. The impressive thing about NVIDIA as a company, is not necessarily the numbers, although the numbers are off the chart, right? I'll show you the numbers, a little bit of numbers in just a second. The numbers are off the chart. But what's impressive about NVIDIA is the company itself, in terms of looking forward and thinking about what's coming next and thinking about what the next processor is going to be or the next semiconductor that's going to be on the cutting edge. Thinking about being able to think about the cutting edge 2 years before the cutting edge gets here, right? 3 years before the cutting edge gets here. That's sort of impressive. So let me share my screen with you guys because we're going to dig in a little bit. I'm not going to go too deep into the numbers, but for some of you that have never analyzed the numbers on a stock, because a lot of you see a news story and you go out and buy a stock, and that's the wrong way to buy a stock, right? So I want to share my screen with you guys and give you guys just a little bit about what I see on a 10Q. And I'll just pull one up for you. Let me see. I'll pull one up for NVIDIA. Let's see here. Oh, here it is right here. No, let's go right here first. All right. So, and you guys can probably see that on the screen. Let me know. Yep, you can see it. So if you ever want to review a publicly traded company's earnings, what they own, everything from their balance sheet to their earnings statement to their not earnings, but their balance sheet, their income statement, their profit loss, what they own, all that stuff is wrapped up in the 10Q and 10Ks. Now, when you go to NVIDIA Corporation, right, there's a bunch of hyperlinks. Now, by the way, you can get any of them. This is an SEC website, right? An SEC website called EDGAR, EDGAR. And I'm going to actually put the link to this website, actually the link to NVIDIA's earnings reports right here. I'll put that link in the description box here on YouTube for you to click on it on your own. Because I'm going to go through it, but I'm going to be really brief on it. I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on it. But let's look at their May 29 10Q quarterly report for the quarter ending April 28th, which was the big one that came out recently a few weeks back, a little over a week ago, and everybody was hyped up about it. So let's pull that one up real quick and let's see what we got. Here it is. All right. So it's going to be small print. If you're watching on YouTube, it's going to be small print. Actually, it didn't go over. Let me change something out. Hold on a second. Stop that screen and then present this other screen. Here we go. Give me a second here. All right. So here we are right here. So it's going to be small print, but this is the first page of their SEC filing. This is NVIDIA's. What I'm trying to do here, guys, is I'm trying to give you an idea of whether you should invest into it, whether you shouldn't invest into it, whether you should listen to all the hype, whether you should not listen to the hype. But remember, it's hype right now. People are talking, right? But you got to go in and do your own research to really see what's going on behind the scenes when you're talking about investing, right? So this is Form 10Q, quarterly report pursuant to Section 13 of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 for NVIDIA Corporation, right? Incorporated in Delaware, which 50%, nearly, I think over 50% of all publicly traded corporations in America are incorporated in Delaware, right? Just so you know, everybody goes to Delaware, but they're actually based out of California, Santa Clara, California. And as you can see, I'm not going to dig too deep into this, but I'm just going to introduce some of you guys to the 10Q report. And it's kind of small, so bear with me. But if we look at, for example, cost revenue, top line, right? By the way, this is and it tells you right here in millions, right? So this would be 26 billion right here. So here's April 28th of 2024. Here's April 30th of 2023, sort of a year over year look at where they've gone. If you notice the top line, they were at about $7 billion this time last year. And their most recent earnings report that's in front of us right here showed that their revenue went up to 26 billion. 7 billion to 26 billion in 1 year. That is ginormous. It may be record breaking, right? It's huge. But at the same time, look at their profit now. Gross profit went up from 2 billion to 5 billion, right? Gross profit. But let's just come down a little bit, and I'll just scroll down here a little bit and look at net income. Net income went from 2 billion to 14 billion. Huge. This is just year over year, right? Year over year. Giving you an idea what I'm looking at here. So I'll scroll down a little bit more. Let me see if, let's see, net income from $2 million to $14 million for net income. I'm just showing you the growth, right? The total growth. Look at assets. Assets didn't change much. 7.2 million to actually 7.3 million, round up to 7.6 million. Assets about the same. Not a big change in their assets. But remember, top line revenue, 7 million to 26 million. Almost fourfold on the revenue, but the assets didn't go up very much, right? Cash equivalents. Then you see total current assets right here, 44 billion last year to 53 billion this year. I think that's billion. Let's see here. So total assets, 65 to 77. Not a lot of increase in terms of assets. They did grow, right? But if you look at their revenue, huge. Revenue is sales, right? Huge. Look at their liabilities. 2.7 billion to 2.7.15 billion. Liabilities have remained about the same. Right? That's our debt, right? Now, we can go on and on. I like to look at some of the footnotes on here. When you read some of the footnotes and some of the things, it gives you a better idea what's going on with the company. Let's see here. We got good connection. Let me see. I think we got good connection. But when you read through some of the footnotes, you listen to the CEO address the shareholders, you begin to understand that the growth of this company is ginormous. It's huge. And I'm not going to dig too much more deep in the 10Q, But if you want to really invest in a company, you need to be reading the 10 Qs and 10 Ks for yourself. And again, I'm going to leave a link to this in the description box below. Every publicly traded company is right here on the SEC's EDGAR website, right? So just want to share a little bit about the numbers so you guys can see. Again, I am trying to show you why it's not too late and why NVIDIA is just getting going. This really, guys, is the beginning of the AI boom. And since it's the beginning of the AI boom, you need to be careful about how you're understanding the information you're getting, right? So, who is NVIDIA? Just so we're clear, I want to make sure we understand who is NVIDIA. Who are they? What do they do? What do they not do? What do they specialize in, etc.? Again, headquartered in Santa Clara, California, incorporated in Delaware since 1993. Not a brand new company, right? Not as old as Apple or old as some of the other ones, but they're not a brand new company. Been around for a long time. They specialize in GPUs, graphics processing units, and they've kind of been in the GPU space for many, many years. And what they specialize in is the gaming field, right? They're very, very renowned for their gaming, right? They're what they call a GeForce. I don't know the technical words for it, but there's a certain line of the GPUs, right? It's taken the graphics that you see when you're playing a video game and making that graphic crisper, clearer, sharper image, right? Cutting edge type graphics for gaming systems and games in general, right? They're into anything having to do with the visualization of stuff, the design, the animation, all that stuff. But you got to know that stuff transfers to more than just video games, right? High-end graphics is their big thing. Obviously, you might have heard them talk about data centers, right? They're big on data centers. Data centers what is a data? When you see a data center, it's a place with a lot of big old mainframe computers in there. You know, like we used to see back in the 70s and 80s. That's what a data center looks like. It supports large scale AI computations, basically, right? Right. So they handle all the high performance computing stuff, right? Specialized hardware that handles AI, right? And there's a bunch of other stuff. I could go through all that. We don't have to go through all those details, but that's what a data center. They're into data centers, data management, things that need high bandwidth and all that type of stuff, right? And of course, when you have high data centers like this, you got to be into the cooling management because you got to power and cool the systems that are in that. It's a big deal, right? They're into the software, they're into the hardware. They do all that. They provide the infrastructure, support, whatever it takes. AI and deep learning is their thing. NVIDIA's GPUs are basically the AI driving mechanism on 50% of everything out there, right? I don't want to get too technical with all that because I don't know the technical stuff as well as the next person. You guys probably know it better than me, right? But they're also into providing some of this stuff for automobiles, right? Self-driving cars, whatever it could be. You name it, different platforms, software, hardware, whatever it could be. Cloud computing as well. Notice when you go to Google right now and you're on a laptop and you plug in, hey, find NVIDIA, right? And then it gives you the AI at the top. And listen, everybody's using them. Microsoft is using them. All right. But their technology that they produce and sell, hardware, software, is used by all types of industries, right? They specialize in end-to-end. That means everything. Software, hardware, AI stuff, right? Making things stronger, making things faster, putting more data on this chip, right? GPUs, self-driving cars, human robots that we saw in the movie iRobot, right? They're out front of all of these major technology changes that are coming, right? And they've introduced They had they introduced a couple of new things that's coming in 2025, 2026, and 2027. They kind of gave an introduction to them this week in the last few days, right? Now, what industries are NVIDIA introducing into the AI space? This is why I'm telling you guys, I said it last week, I'll say it again. NVIDIA will likely be the largest company in the world by market cap. They will very likely overtake Apple, and it ain't gonna take too much more after the split. And we'll talk about the split later. It's not gonna take too much more for them to go from 120, whatever they're at when they split, $120 per share to go to $160 per share. And when they get to $160, $170 per share, they will be the largest company on the stock exchange. Okay. So here's some more fodder for you to think about if you're thinking about investing, not investing. Now, I'm not telling you, let me just preface all this. I'm not telling you to invest. I'm not telling you don't invest. I'm telling you what's happening, right? You make your own decision. This is not investment advice. This is investment information that you need to know as an investor who's thinking about getting into NVIDIA or buying some NVIDIA. Okay. And I'll look at the chat here in a minute, guys. Been looking, kind of glancing at it a little bit. So NVIDIA is on the cutting edge of introducing a lot of things. Okay. And that's been really, trust me, we know about Cisco back in 1998, 99, 2000, when Cisco was on the cutting edge, right? Right. And then what happened was there was you got to know about some of this history as you study and think about whether you want to get involved, right? As a new investor, should you not? It's more than just the numbers. It's more than just what's happened in the past in terms of some other companies. Now, we don't have anything to really gauge this from, because as I said before, I said it last week, I think, in 1999, 2000, when the tech bubble burst, here was the internet age coming of age, right? And the internet age coming of age had nothing to rest on, had nothing to rest itself on. It was just out there. People were concerned, not concerned. You know what happened in 2000 with, what do they call 2000 when it was about to flip to 2000? Some people thought the world was going to end or something like that. So all that was happening back then, but there was no precedence that was set for a new technology such as the internet. So the internet didn't have any platform. The difference this time around is that everybody's comfortable with technology today, much more than they were 24 years ago. Everybody is comfortable with technology. Everybody is more welcoming of technology. Most people are looking for technology to make their jobs easier, right? And so AI that's coming on has something to sit on top of. See, there's no such thing as AI by itself. AI uses the internet technology, not just the internet, but it uses pre-existing technology to enhance it, right? Sort of piggybacking or innovating from what's already out there. So do I anticipate a bubble burst like we did in 2000 with tech? I don't think so. I think it's a different day and age. So can we compare NVIDIA to what happened with Cisco? Cisco was big time in 1999, 2000. They were huge, right? Then they had some competitors that came along and knocked them off their pedestal. But they weren't moving along at this speed, right? So what are some areas why I believe AI is here to stay, or at least NVIDIA is here to stay? Because NVIDIA is a major player in the healthcare industry, medical imaging, drugs, pharmaceuticals, personalized medicine. Think about when you do personalized medicine on a Zoom call. How can AI help, with the voice recognition that's going to have a person that's hurting from some type of medical issue, trying to get the point across to you, and AI could step in place and help be a translator, a communicator for that person, right? I'm just throwing it out there, right? And of course, we mentioned automotive, self-driving cars, all of the systems inside of cars, Look at the inside of cars, the smart use of smart technology that's implemented on the inside of cars, the technology, right? Of course, you got warehousing and manufacturing. Think about AI's ability for a company to do inventory, right? To make sure that all the equipment is up and running, and if there's a glitch, there's something AI could be used to let the manager know about the glitch before the glitch throws off and messes up 10,000 units. It'll only mess up 300 units because you got AI. I'm just throwing it out there, right? Of course, you got cybersecurity, fraud detection, all the algorithms that could be used, right? Retails, right? Retail customers, like I said before, inventory management for retail, telecommunications, right? Customer service, right? Think about your local water company and your local electric company. How could they be using AI for their technology, right? Maybe to help move energy faster, move energy more smarter, more efficient, right? Oil, gas, whatever, entertainment. We know that entertainment and social media, how it can be used. It's at the beginning of all of this right now. And the leader, the leader in all of these areas that are providing these areas with this AI technology from end to end, right? Software, hardware, everything in between, NVIDIA is the leader. NVIDIA is the leader, right? So their platforms, crazy. They could design platforms that are specific to the city of New York City. Excuse me. They can provide platforms in the AI space that are specific to Panola County, Mississippi. They can design it in a way that's specific to Ypsilanti, Michigan, right? Not to mention generative AI. And I won't go too deep into generative AI, but it's just the type of AI that creates new content based on previous experiences, text, images, music, whatever, video, you name it. It generates. You don't tell it what to do, but it sort of thinks on its own and generates. That's why they call it generative AI, right? So this is all the areas that NVIDIA is playing in, not just participating in like Intel or like AMD, but they're actually leading in all those areas, the technology that's driving all those areas, right? Yes, there. Let me go back. Let me go to the chat real quick, guys. And if you're joining me on other platforms, feel free to go over to YouTube. On YouTube, in the description box, I've got a few links, some free stuff. I got my partner, Mint Mobile, who I partner with on all of my lives because I use them and they're inexpensive and their customer service is extremely good. So check out Mint Mobile. There's a link to them as well down below. Now, I might have missed some of the chats. Yeah, Y2K is what we call that. Right. Some of you guys been around for a while. Guys, do me a favor as you come in here. You got to hit that like button for me. Hit that thumbs up button for me. Pushes this information out to more and more new investors, more and more people who are thinking about investing, who are new to investing. And I try not to get in the weeds on these lives when we're talking about this stuff. I try to keep it kind of high level because I want you to go research for yourself. Don't take it from me. Please don't take it from me. I'm just a guy who's giving you information. Now you got to go check out that information for yourself, run it through your own mind, run it through your own personal finances, through your own investment strategy, through your own risk mitigation, your risk tolerance level. Then you make a decision, but don't buy anything based on what I say. You don't have to do that. That's not a smart long-term plan or strategy for investing. You have to learn to do your own research on these companies. Even though NVIDIA, everything looks good, let me throw this at you. It's at some point they're going to be looking at NVIDIA for antitrust laws, right? Violating antitrust laws because of their sort of monopoly in the AI space. That's coming too for NVIDIA. You got to know that, but I'm not going to dig too deep in it. You do your own research and look at what's coming out in terms of antitrust laws. And maybe NVIDIA has too much of the market share and they want to maybe break that up a little. Who knows? Right? Who knows? Remember when AT&T, I think it was AT&T and Southwestern Bell, right? That's the famous case back in the, was it 80s or 70s? I think 80s, early 80s, mid 80s, right? But that's something that NVIDIA will have to contend with. And they might fly right over it, might not be any issue. But as an investor, you have to know all these little things, the good and the bad, right? Right? Somebody says, don't pigeonhole yourself with it. Always diversify and rebalance. Absolutely. Our pain. Great comment. Great comment. Always have some balance and have some diversification in your portfolio. Somebody says, what does Money Bro look like without a hat? Hey, bald head guy. Bald head guy. Not a big deal. Thanks. That's a good question. Off topic, but a good question. The company is doing all those things better than all the rest. They're outshining everybody. They're outshining all of their competitors, right? Somebody said, I think NVIDIA is a good stock to own. Did they hit? They hit 3 trillion yesterday and just pulled back a little bit from 3 trillion by the close of today. And so right now the stock is trading at, let's see here. Give me a second. It's trading at 1209. I'm not sure what after hours is doing, but it's trading at 1209. It ended at 1209.98. So just over $1,200 is where it ended at for the day. Let's see here. I'm new to this. How much should we start paying for this stock? Resound 12. If you're new to this, take your time, slow down, listen to everything we talk about and what you hear on here. Then you want to do a little research on your own, meaning I want you to go to that Edgar site that I pulled up from the SEC and try to start looking at those financials. If you don't know how to read a 10Q, Google it. Google it or YouTube it so you can watch a video or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or 20 that teaches you how to read a 10Q and what are the 5 or 6 things or 10 things you want to be looking at right off the bat, and learn how to do your individual stock investing the right way, right? Somebody said, I don't see the links. They should be there. I'll check it in just a moment. Thanks, R-Pain. Appreciate you. Clint said, good point. 1209.98 per share. Leon said, appreciate you. Yes. Okay, so I want to give hey, when I talk about things, I don't want to give you all the rosy, everything looks great, you better do this. Hey, this is great. No, you need to know all sides of it because that's going to help you make a more informed decision. But here's the deal. AI is growing. Who's the biggest player? NVIDIA, right? There's a big, big demand for AI coming up. Automation, efficiency. Everybody wants to be more efficient. Because what happens when you make a business more efficient? When you make a business more efficient, first of all, when you make a person more efficient, right? We like that. It can make us lazy, right? But when you make a business more efficient, you make a business more profitable. So a business loves to be profitable, obviously. So if AI can add to automation and efficiency in terms of a business, boom, that's great. Businesses love that. Think about data analysis. That's huge, right? Because obviously businesses make decisions based on data, right? So AI, machine learning tools, those things are critical for businesses when it comes to data analysis. I talked about earlier, healthcare advancements. Think about how it could enhance the diagnostics, personalized treatment plans, right? How about regular old retail stores? When you walk into a store, and at some point, could there be a time when you have a list, present the computer with the list, and the computer goes through and picks up all your stuff based on your list and then generates some new stuff and puts that in the cart, brings it to you in a matter of 6-7 minutes because you have a bad knee and you can't get around, or you have been in surgery, you can't walk around the store, but you still want to shop? Maybe I'm just throwing it out there. There's so many uses and possibilities for this AI in everyday use, right? And I mentioned, I don't think I mentioned banks, but think about banks, right? Somebody's trying to fraud the bank or steals your ID or whatever. Is there an algorithm that could help the bank locate the person who did the deed I'm just throwing it out there, right? There's so many uses for it that we could go on and on, right? From education, right? Think about education, training. The demand for AI is too high right now to say, well, AI is not going to be around. No, it'll be around. We're at the beginning, right? The demand will be around. Now, some people say, hey, is AI going to take jobs? I don't really believe AI is going to take jobs just as much as, the internet didn't take jobs, right? But what the internet did was it made jobs easier, right? Or again, more efficient. So I don't think that AI is going to take the job of the engineer, the scientist. Will they have machines that do things that humans are doing? Yeah, I think so. Right? But I think there's other uses for us that it won't bother us. Now, let's talk real quick about the split. The split, the split, the split. Do me a favor, you got to hit the like button for me. If you're watching on YouTube, smash the like button for me, guys. I really, really would appreciate it. Again, we want to push good information out, good free information, right? Pay it forward. The best way you can support this channel is simply by sharing the information, hitting the like button and sharing the information with other people that you think they're going to at some point want to learn or get information about something like this. Now, the stock split is tomorrow. NVIDIA stock is going to break into 10 pieces. If you own one share, you're going to get 9 more shares at the new price. If NVIDIA closes at $1,200 tomorrow, using it as an even number, if they close at $1,200 tomorrow at the end of the close, that means when you wake up Monday morning, you don't have one share, you have 10 shares at $120 each. You don't gain anything. You don't lose anything. Okay? The stock split is not designed to help you gain and lose. It's just what it is. They're just breaking it into 10 pieces. Why? Because it looks a whole lot more attractive to new investors at $120 per share than $1,200 per share. And it's supposed to incentivize lots of retail investors to buy the stock, right? Now, if you're Geico or if you're Sally Mae or if you're one of these large institutional investors that spend millions and millions on stocks, who cares if it splits from 10 to 1 or from one share to 10? That doesn't matter to them. It really matters for us smaller retail investors. Me and you, we're retail investors, right? That's who it's supposed to incentivize and be more attractive to is us. And I guarantee you guys, when you go to look at a stock and that stock is at $1,200 per share, even if you can buy fractional shares, which you can, right? You ain't going to be you're going to be way more apt to buy shares if they cost $120. Kind of like human nature, right? So the question becomes for you guys, are you going to buy after the split, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week? Or are you going to buy tomorrow before the split? That's my question for you guys. When are you actually going to purchase? Somebody said Bell South. I'm just catching up on the chats. Hey, Eric, how's all? Will there be a slight drops? I think there's going to be a slight drop. The Willie Willa said, Willie Willa. I think there's going to be a small drop, maybe for a day or 2 or 3. Somebody said VTI all the way. VTI will end up growing because of NVIDIA's results too. Yes, great point. I want to stay on that Wallet Invest as well. Great point. Somebody said, I don't know how to invest. I'm trying to learn. Hopefully I learn. Hey, I got a bunch of, check out some of my videos on here helping out people who are brand new at investing, right? I got several of them. So somebody said AI can be very useful, equally terrifying. You're right, can be terrifying. Absolutely. You're probably thinking back to that movie with Will Smith, I Robot, when the robot had some human qualities and could think and could make decisions and went crazy on people, killing people, right? All that stuff. So AI can just see how much did I miss? Hey, Miss Reynolds, good to have you here. Good to have you here. I'm glad you're here. You can rewind it back after you watch this second half of it right here. See, what about in 10 to 15 years? NVIDIA might not have good results like today. Absolutely. Every single stock has a life, right? Has a lifespan. At some point, here's something else you got to consider. Not only do you got to think about um, the the um, the SEC or the monitoring of them in terms of, are they getting too big? Do we have to, right? Are they monopolizing the AI space? Um, but you also have to think about the competitors, right? NVIDIA's going to have some competitors. They got competitors. Intel, AMD, we can name a few others. They have competitors. The issue today is that the competitors are right here, NVIDIA's right here, and NVIDIA ain't slowing down. Okay. The competitors are coming fast, but NVIDIA's moving fast. So yeah, they're gonna have competitors. Every stock, every company has a lifespan. Think about 20 years ago when Sears was big, right? Think about back in the day when Sears was big time, right? When I was young, right? Sears was the big store, right? Huge, right? Where's Sears now? So could we be looking at NVIDIA like we look at Sears in about 25 years? It's absolutely possible. Absolutely, right? And the kicker is this: when you buy an individual stock like NVIDIA, you got to know when to get out of NVIDIA too, as it plummets in 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. You got to know when to get rid of it, right? That's why it's tough investing in the individual stocks. So somebody said the split times 10 will bring in more investors. Clint Perry, that is the whole purpose of the split, to make it more affordable, more applicable, more attractive, and bring in more investors. And guess what that means, guys? If you already bought it, and we got more people coming into it because it looks attractive at $120 per share, that means it's going to go up. We could really be sitting here in a year from today and say that NVIDIA is now trading at $182 per share, when a year earlier it was trading at $120 per share, right? We could easily say that. I won't say easily, but we could say that. In 2 or 3 years, we could say NVIDIA is trading at $347. They're trading at $900 and going to do another split in the year 2027. Look, that could happen, right? It really could. We could also be looking at this in a year from now and say NVIDIA started off when they first split at 120. Now they're down to 113. That could happen too. But when you factor in all the places where NVIDIA is a major player in the AI space, and you factor in what is AI, what are the possibilities of AI, and how can AI be scaled to make many, many businesses more efficient. See, you guys got to think about this from a business standpoint, from an overall big picture. Don't just look at how, okay, now you can talk into your phone, tell me this, and it'll find it for you, right? That's the little use of AI. That's the small use of AI. The AI for me and you as customers, that ain't even the big picture of AI. That's the little bit of AI that we see on the end, right? But AI is way bigger than that. It's into every single industry and business that you can think of. Not to mention, watch this, the entertainment space. You got to know that NVIDIA was a major is for the last 25, 30 years, a major player in the video game industry. So NVIDIA is picking it up at me and you who don't game, picking up all the gamers, and the gaming industry is huge, huge, bigger than the movie industry, right? It's huge. They're picking up all that, plus they're doing all the other stuff we're talking about. So they're everywhere. in a lot of places, right? Let me see what I missed here in the chat. I might have missed some. Oh, thanks for the super chat. I appreciate you. Buy the book. Buy the book. Said, thanks for all you do. I appreciate you so much for being a supporter. And thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. Let's see. Somebody said when Apple split, it still grew. Sure did. Let's see. I have to want to just get off the okay. Alvira, glad to have you here. Thanks for showing up. I already have NVIDIA, but we'll buy more after the split according to my long-term investment strategy. John High, man, we got some bright people in here, some smart people. Investment strategy. What is yours? Don't go just buying willy-nilly. Figure out what your investment strategy is. And you can do that tonight. For real. Spend 3 or 4 hours, 2 or 3 hours, spend an hour tonight and figure out what your investment strategy is before you make a decision. You can do that, right? Somebody said day traders will be taking profits after split, no doubt. Somebody said I'm buying after the split. I already have. Let's see. Thank you, Willie Willow. Appreciate you. Haven't pulled the trigger yet, but thinking I might do it tomorrow and just let the one share split and see where it goes from there. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Dip your toe in a little bit. NVIDIA passed Apple yesterday. Yes, they did. They went above Apple, but they dropped back down a little bit today. They're going to be, I'll say it again, this second time on this video, but I have a whole video about it last week. NVIDIA will be the largest company on the stock exchange. It'll overpass Microsoft. That's my opinion. Now, I'm not going to say anything else beyond that. That's just my opinion. I'm looking at their numbers. I'm looking at their possibilities. I'm looking at what's coming out, what they're announcing in terms of where they're going to be and what they're actually introducing to the markets. I'm looking at how they manage and run and their data centers, right? Huge. Art of War, good to have you from Ohio. Let's see. First-time investor, do I put a limit order or a market order? I usually go market order, but you can go limit order if you want. Do your research on what you feel most comfortable with. Totally up to you, right? This is the third split since I've owned the stock. Yeah, they split about more than 3 times. They split a bunch of times, right? So the split is going to take place tomorrow after the bell rings, right? Every share you got, you're going to have 9 more. Is it 9 more? It's going to multiply. You're going to have 10. 10 for one split, right? Again, they're just trying to make the shares more accessible to a broader range of people. You don't get anything extra by being in it before or after the split. Okay. They also talked about they also said they're going to increase their quarterly dividends too. Not much. I think was it 4 cents to 10 cents per share, something like that. But the reason why a company like NVIDIA is not a big dividend player is because they don't need to offer dividends to incentivize people to invest, right? What NVIDIA does is they throw their profits, for the most part, back into the growth of the company, which I like that. I like that. You don't have to pay me a dividend. Just grow the company, and I'm winning that way. If you take the dividend and you throw it back in the company, everybody wins. I still own stock. We're good to go, right? Some people love the dividends. Nothing wrong with that at all. But it's not really a big dividend player, and it's because of their growth. They don't have to play in the dividend game, right? So that begs the question. Are you going to buy before the stock split, or are you going to buy after the stock split? That's the question. That's the question on the table. Are you going to buy before the stock split or after, and why? Somebody said, I think all of my ETFs have some NVIDIA. That's a great point. Let me pause on that. Let me put a bookmark, check mark. Let me stop you on that exit sign. Might be saying that wrong. Here's the deal. If you own ETFs or index funds that have NVIDIA in them, that's another way that you could invest and have some type of a position in NVIDIA. You don't have to go out and buy the individual stock, right? For example, let me just pull up VOO. I'll pull up VOO. VOO is Vanguard stock. Let me share my screen with you guys real quick. Let me go ahead and pull it up on Vanguard itself. Let me see if I can do that real quick, guys. Boom, boom, boom. Present. I'm slow with presenting, right? Bear with me. I'm learning. All right. So if you look at VOO, I just put it on the screen here. VOO. VOO is the S&P 500 ETF for Vanguard, sold by Vanguard, right? Large blend, right? 3.03 expense ratio means it's very cheap to own Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF called VOO. Very inexpensive. Year to date, 12.81% year to date. That's what it's returned in the last 5-6 months of this year, or in the 5 or 6 months of this year. I'm going to scroll down because I'm going to look at holdings, right? I'm on Vanguard's website just looking at VOO real briefly. So this is the breakdown of the different sectors that's involved in VOO. Remember, VOO is an ETF, so it's a bucket of stocks. It's just a bucket of stocks with a whole bunch of individual stocks thrown inside of it. But if you break it down to sectors, 9% of it is communications, 10% consumer discretionary, 4% is energy. But look at healthcare, 12%. Remember, healthcare is going to benefit from AI. Financials, 13%. But look at IT. IT is 29% of VOO. And that means 29% of the weight in that bucket is from companies that are in the IT space. Huge, huge. And keep this in mind. NVIDIA is the supplier to name the Mag 7, Amazon. When I say supplier, they supply the AI needs, much, not all, but many of the AI needs of Amazon, of Meta, Facebook, right? Or of Google, Alphabet, or of, and I should say and instead of or, and you name it, right? So those are all NVIDIA's customers. They're all NVIDIA's, all of these technology folks, NVIDIA is winning on 2 or 3 different ends. They're not only supplying the AI needs for much of this 30% of the weight of IT in the S&P 500 VOO, but they're also one of the top Mag 7 in VOO, in the bucket itself. So it's like they're in the bucket, but they're also supplying the needs for all the people for many of the people in the bucket. So over the course of the next year, what does that mean for NVIDIA? It means continued growth as AI continues to grow. Now, when we look at the specific holdings, Microsoft is holding 6.83%. Apple is holding 5.83%. NVIDIA is holding 5%. There's Amazon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right here. So Google's right here. So between all of these, 2, 4, 6.5, maybe 10, 15, 17.5, almost 18, 25. That's going to be about 25 to 30%. Top 10 is going to be probably 30%. But the point is that Microsoft is a customer. Apple is a customer. Amazon's a customer. Alphabet's a customer. Facebook's a customer. All these customers, Broadcom, Eli Lilly, to an extent, right? These are all their customers. How can you go wrong if you're supplying all of these ginormous companies with their AI needs and AI is growing at the same time, and you're an efficient 30-year-old company who is forward thinking, and also not just forward thinking, but already have 30 yards on the rest of the competition? And it's a 100-yard race. Probably longer than that, but let's say it's a 100-yard race over the next 10 years. You already got 30 yards on them. Right? So if you have VOO, you own a portion of NVIDIA. You are getting NVIDIA, right? You are actually 5% of your VOO is there. You might have another QQQ, MGK, VUG, VYM. a lot of those probably have some NVIDIA in them, right? So, if you're thinking about, well, I'm going to miss it, I'm missing out, it's too late. It's not too late. NVIDIA is just getting started, my friends. They're just getting started. Let's see. Somebody said let me go back and look at some of these. It doesn't matter when I buy. It's business as usual. Right on, Alvira. I'm not mad at you. Looking forward to owning 24 shares next week. Nothing wrong with that, Denmark. I like that. Art of War, thumbs up, says Mrs. Moore. Let's see. I was looking at LAC, which is on Fidelity website at 12:30. 7. Okay, cool. I'm just reading some of the chats, guys. Already invested, but plan to buy after 2 when it dips. Somebody said I'm buying before because by the split, the price is going to cost way more than it is now. Could be. Typically what happens in a split, guys, is there is a day or two or a week or two of some down, some pullback. Now, again, this is not investing advice, and this is unprecedented territory when we're talking about a large AI firm like NVIDIA. So what happened in the past don't necessarily mean it's going to happen in the future, but just something to think about. Let's see. Should we be worried about U.S. regulations to open antitrust probes into NVIDIA, OpenAI, and Microsoft? Yes, Simi. I mentioned that earlier. Absolutely. That's something you have to weigh and consider. Again, when you're talking about pouring in your $2,000, your $25,000, your $75,000 into a stock, you got to take all that in consideration. And I said, yes, you're 100% right. U.S. regulations will be opening up some antitrust probes into NVIDIA, into Microsoft, into OpenAI. Why? To make sure they're not having a monopoly, right? A monopoly where all other competitors are pushed out and nobody else can get in the game, right? It's happened to many large companies before. I don't think NVIDIA is going to have a big issue with it, but it's something you should know. What do I think about Palantir versus NVIDIA? How about Palantir and NVIDIA? Let's scratch that little versus out and put the word "and" if you're looking at being in the space, right? You don't have to. The beauty of stock market investing is you don't have to do and or you don't have to do one or the other. You can do them both. Diversify, right? Let's see here. Hey, Mommy Trader's in the house. Good to have you, Mommy Trader. Appreciate you. You guys check out her channel. She has a YouTube channel, very good channel. She talks a lot about dividends, and I think she's an SCHD fan, and check out her channel as well. She's in the chat. NVIDIA is the big daddy, Frank Ellis, no doubt. No doubt. Somebody said July 1st, my company's 401k is adding an S&P 500. Can't wait. I'm the one that told them to add it. Fantastic. By BlackRock. Fantastic. VOO is my savings account. I don't use a bank for that purpose. My Vanguard MGK technology. Yeah, MGK is the big technology, large cap, big technology Vanguard ETF. Not a bad play. I'm a more of a VUG person than an MGK person because of the holdings. I like more holdings than MGK has. But let's say, even though the stocks are splitting, remember the company is still the same company that's breaking all the records. Absolutely. Excellent point, Mark. Excellent point. Same company, right? And I showed at the beginning of this, guys, I showed you some of their financials, their 10Q, right? So something for you to think about. If you missed that, please feel free to scroll this thing back so you can check that out and take a look at it. But yeah, they're huge. They are huge. But I like the fact that they're still growing. They're not resting on their laurels. They're still out there pushing. The thing I like about NVIDIA is that NVIDIA is the third at today as we speak, the third largest company. And I think in the next week, they'll solidify themselves as the second largest over Apple. And I think in the next 6 months, could be a lot less, 6 months, I think they'll overtake Microsoft. But the beauty of them, this is the beauty. I want you to think about this if you're thinking about investing in NVIDIA. The beauty is that they're huge, but they act like a startup, right? They're out there humping and pushing and working and introducing new things and being innovative and trying new things and starting new things and smart business wise. They're out there like a brand new, they're working like they are brand new. They're working like they're brand new, but they're 30 years old. They have a heavy presence in the AI space that's up and coming, and they're still putting in work, right? They're still thinking about their shareholders, right? They're still growing at an enormous pace based on the growth of AI primarily. But here's the kicker. If AI took a nosedive, NVIDIA would still probably be okay. NVIDIA won't take a nosedive if AI takes a nosedive. Because remember what I said. Excuse me, they're in a whole bunch of areas. They could say, okay, let's dig back into the gaming space. Okay, let's dig back into the data center processing plate. Let's dig into the GPUs, graphic processing, right? Because all of that technology is relevant whether our version of AI takes off or if it doesn't take off. There's still a level of technology that they're playing in, right? Something to think about. Let's see here. Somebody said, where do you get money to invest? Hey, Michelle, you get money to invest from being diligent with your own personal finances and freeing up the money by not having so much debt, freeing up the money by not having so much money you owe on credit cards, freeing up the money by not having all those student loans hanging around for 30 years like I did, freeing up money. That's how you get the money to invest, right? You figure out your income and your expenses, and you make it a big old cushion in between the two. So you bring home 3,000, you spend expenses about 2,200. Now you got $800 to play and maybe invest every single month. Who knows? And do that for 20 years. You're going to be just fine. Let's see. Somebody said still have money traders still have same 5 shares. Will 50 in the next? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think a lot of people are in that hold because I think a lot of people are a little bit afraid. I think a lot of people are a little bit skeptical. A lot of people are nervous because they see all of this exuberance. But notice I left off a word. Normally, when we talk about investing in stocks and we talk about exuberance, excitement, we always say irrational exuberance. But in this instance, what's happening with NVIDIA, I think it's more like rational exuberance as opposed to the normal term, which is irrational exuberance, right? I think that's the difference here that we got to think about. Normally, everybody is, oh, we're up in arms. Yay, yay. And then somebody sees one person run after the stock and that person goes run after the stock and they see some. But the difference in this is that if you peel back the layers of what's happening with NVIDIA, and you peel back the layers and you look at their profit loss statement and you look at their numbers and you look at what's happening in the space, the industries where they are the major players, AI, you look at their customers, right? Who's buying from them? You look at their place in the gaming industry. You look at their possibilities in the healthcare industry, the financial industry, the cybersecurity industry, whatever. You begin to see that this is not necessarily irrational exuberance. This is more like rational exuberance, right? Based on rational thinking, right? Something to think about. Something to think about. So let's see. Amidst the euphoria, remember to like and share. Yes, Alvira, thank you so much, guys. Please do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit that little like button right there if you're on Facebook. Please smash that like button. And also check in the description box below. I got my partner, Mint Mobile, is there. I enjoy them, use them, like them, solid customer service. You can keep your own phone number. You can pay less for your premium wireless services. Also, free ebook in the description box below, the 24 Laws of Money, free ebook from me to you. right? But you gotta hit that thumbs up button. And also, if you know somebody, a new investor, a young investor, somebody who's not sure, please share this information with them by clicking on the link to the YouTube video and just sharing or you can share it on your Facebook group or page. Share it on your somewhere else where we can get more people to understand sort of this common sense way of looking at investments, and also a common sense way of understanding what's happening with NVIDIA and NVIDIA stock, right? It ain't slowing down. Not slowing down one bit. It's not. NVIDIA is just getting started, right? I'm going to make another video like this probably in 6 months, and it'll be then split. The stock will split up. It'll be trading at 140 shares, but who knows? But it's just getting started. Why? Because AI is just getting started, right? AI is just getting started, right? It's not too late to invest. I've heard many people say that to me. Well, it's too late. Yeah, I wish I had got it. It's too late. It's not too late. This is the beginning. Here's what I want you to do. I'm going to give you what I always give you. We talk about investing, some things that you got to think about. Very important. Very important to think about. Christopher, just rewind this thing. You got it. Okay, so if you're trying to think about investing in NVIDIA, you can also own it in an ETF or index fund. You got to have your investment plan of action. It's boring. It ain't exciting. You gotta have. I always try to tell people, listen, try to have a written investment plan of action. Don't just have it in your head, right? Write it down. When you write it down, you become more accountable to it, right? What is your investment plan of strategy, plan of action? You need to somehow, if you're interested and you've done your research on a stock like NVIDIA, you need to see, okay, how can that best fit into my plan of action? You don't have to throw your plan of action away just for one stock. Okay? You don't have to do that. But you can say, if you want to incorporate NVIDIA into your plans, okay, how does NVIDIA work with? Can I maybe get it in an ETF? Is there some type of index fund that I like? Mutual fund, right? Is there another way? How can let me check with my HR at my job. Do you guys have, my point is, don't abandon your investment plan of action over one stock. Okay. It's doing great. It's doing good, but just be a little more sensible when you're trying to think about this, right? And if you have money to buy NVIDIA, please don't spend all your money. That was funny right there. That was funny. I said money. Okay. Don't invest all your money in one stock. Please don't do that. I like NVIDIA. I think it has a lot of growth potential. But please don't put your $20,000 nest egg that's going to help you feed your family over the next 20 years or feed yourself or pay rent into one stock. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Right? The other thing is, if you don't understand NVIDIA, please don't invest in NVIDIA. If you don't understand what capabilities, listen, if you don't understand and you want to understand, then just read and understand and start to learn. You can do that too. I'm not saying don't invest in NVIDIA just because you don't know it. Go know it. Go learn it. Spend the time to figure it out, right? It's not going to take you very much time. You could learn a lot about AI and NVIDIA as a company over the next 2 days, over the next day, 24 hours, right? But don't invest in anything you don't understand. If you totally don't get it, you don't know what it is, you're just throwing your money in it, don't do it. Don't invest in it. Always risk what you can afford to lose, and then always assess your risk tolerance. If you're 65 years old and you have $50,000 to your name, period, don't put $40,000 into one stock, right? Only invest what you can afford to lose. I like to end all of these talks about investing with some common sense principles that don't change. They don't change. Just because you see a stock going crazy like NVIDIA, it doesn't mean you abandon common sense investing. And then somebody said it earlier in the chat, Make sure you're diversified. I think I just honed in on that just a second ago. Diversify your investment choices. Please, please, and pretty please. Because I don't want to see you lose all your money. Right? And then listen, this is the last one. Do not panic. Relax. Be reasonable. Be level-headed. Don't invest with emotion. Toss the emotion out the window. The emotion, scared, fearful, hyped up, right? Overly excited, right? Those are all emotions, right? And that's why I wanted to walk you through this on this video to say that if you're going to invest in NVIDIA, then you need to look at things in a very rational way, right? And a rational way is look at the data, the 10Q. We started off looking at the data. Look at the data. Look at their profits. Look at the growth. Look at who they are. Who is NVIDIA, right? When did they start? What is the main places that they're involved in, their business in? What do they own? What do they not own? What is the CEO saying about them, right? How are they growing? What's their plan for the next 2 or 3 years? Then you have to figure out, okay, who are their customers and what is the main industries they're in, right? And is there a demand for their main industry, which is AI? And then what is going to happen when the stock splits? Does a 10-to-1 split at the end of the business day tomorrow, right? This is logical. So when you go to invest, you're making a logical decision about what you're doing, and you're not using emotion to invest, right? That's what I want you to do. That's the whole purpose of this video. And it's really the purpose of this channel is to get these regular investors like me. I'm just a regular investor, right? How do we make smart decisions and not be all hyped up because we see somebody screaming on their picture on the YouTube channel, or we see a big headline story of breaking news? How do we slow that down and take a more rational look at the stock that we're interested in, the company because you're buying a company, right? Think about it. When you look to invest in NVIDIA, you're buying a piece of NVIDIA, right? So it's more than just the numbers. Numbers is very important. Look at the numbers, understand the numbers, but you got to look at the big picture of a stock, not just the numbers. What happens with a lot of people is they do one or the other. They either look really heavy at the numbers and don't pay any attention to what the company is really doing as a company. They just look at the numbers and they're just numbers people. And you can see them on YouTube sometimes. They're just scrolling through numbers and showing you candlestick charts and stuff, right? People either do that or they go the other extreme. They just see a video and say, oh, that sounds like a good one. Let me go ahead and get on that without looking at the numbers. I'm telling you, do both. Take a holistic approach to each individual company, specifically, like we're talking about here, NVIDIA, to make a decision about whether or not you're going to invest. That way, you're an informed investor. And you're a smart, wise investor, right? So, great. Thank you so much, Mai. Thank you, Tam. I appreciate you. 6-speed, no problem. I have VTSAX in my Roth. Great. Looking forward to owning 70 shares on Monday, somebody said. Fantastic. Congratulations to you for having that. Let's see. I do all the comments. My son does the research and investments. He took the time to learn. Excellent, Alvira. Fantastic. Let's see here. Thank you, Truth Seeker, for being here. Dodge J, I appreciate you. Joe Wash, VGT, Clint Perry. FOMO is big right now. Absolutely. Somebody said, I need more money to invest. Well, if you need more money to invest, you've got to figure that one out. Somebody says, get NVIDIA and AMD. That's the other thing to think about. NVIDIA has competitors. And maybe if AI is going to blow up like they say AI is getting big, you need to be looking at competitors as well, right? Who is the next NVIDIA? That's a question nobody's asking yet because we all got our eyes fixated on NVIDIA. But guess what? There's a competitor coming. All stocks, all companies have a cycle. Whether that cycle is 5 years, 20 years, 30, 50 years, they all have a cycle. The top 20 companies in the S&P 500 in the year 2000, only one of them is still a top 20 company today. That's 19 new companies. That means in the year 2045, there's going to be 19 new companies that are going to be in the top 20 in the S&P 500. Who are they? Some of them right now don't exist. Some of them right now are trading at $17 an hour, maybe trading at $60 an hour. So part of your process of doing your research into NVIDIA is saying, okay, now who are NVIDIA's competitors that are also going to play a large role? Is it going to be Cisco, Intel, AMD? Who's it going to be? Right? So that's something you got to be thinking of as well as an investor. So guys, I appreciate you being here. I'm not going to hold you any longer. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you share this video, the link to this video, with somebody else, right? But it ain't over. NVIDIA is literally just getting started. It's not too late. That's my opinion, but it's a well thought out opinion. And I tried to show you on this video why I believe that, right? So do me a favor, guys, check out all the free stuff I got in the description box below. And if you want to check out that video that I did last week that went into a little more detail about who NVIDIA is, please go ahead and check that out. It's in the description box below. Appreciate you for being here, Facebook, LinkedIn, other Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and of course, my family here on YouTube. I appreciate you guys for all of your support. As I always tell you at the end of every video, do me a favor, always take good care of yourself and take care of other people, because the best person who's going to take care of the old you is the young you. Until the next video, peace.